With so much uncertainty going on at the moment and going into 2023, no one knows what that means for house prices and if they're going to go down or by how much. So if you're worried about that and you want to know what it all means, then listen up. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam, I'm an expert mortgage broker. Today we're talking about house prices, if they're going to go down, what that means for you and your mortgage going into next year. So we're going to go through it all and hopefully put some minds at rest. The first thing to say though is that this is sort of general information. I'm going to talk about some options and things in here. What's best for you is very bespoke to your situation. So this is general information around the market and what you can do. So the first thing then is, if you are currently fixed into your mortgage and you've got 2, 3, 5 years left on your fixed rate mortgage, you've got no plans to move, then to be honest, sit back, relax, because popular opinion is that whatever happens is going to be fairly short-lived, and in the next few years we're going to be sort of fairly back to normal. Now, obviously, touch wood, some wood around here somewhere, that is actually what happens. We don't know yet, but that is popular opinion amongst the people that are way cleverer than me, that know about these things. So if you are in that situation, all you've got to do with your house is just live in it, enjoy it, and then we'll think about your mortgage in a few years' time. For anyone else that's not in that situation though, we need to start thinking really about what the future holds and what your options are. So the first group of people, if you're due to remortgage in the next couple of years, then you're going to see some changes. So when you come to remortgage, your rate is probably, we don't know what the future holds again, but your rate is probably going to be a little bit higher than it is now, which means your monthly payments are going to be higher. Now, first handy tip actually, if you are due to remortgage in the next couple of years, overpay a little bit now or save some up now so that you can get used to a higher monthly payment. You know, if you can put an extra 20, 30, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever you can do, if you can put an extra little bit aside each month, that will prepare you for a higher rate incoming, and actually it'll build up a little pot of savings. You could use that to reduce your mortgage or whatever you want to do with it in a couple of years' time. But that's a little handy hint for you. So if you're due to remortgage in the next couple of years, the big thing you need to do is do it as soon as possible. So you can start looking at your remortgage process 6 or even 7 months early. A new mortgage offer for a remortgage can last up to 6 months. So if you start the process 6.5 months early, then by the time you get your mortgage offer, it'll last long enough so that it will see out the rest of your fixed rate, and then your new one will be ready to start. Now, the earlier you do that, if house prices are going down, the earlier you do that, the higher your house value will be. We don't know what's happening with rates at the moment. So if the rate then goes down a little bit, you can always just choose a new rate. If it goes up, then you don't need to worry because you've already got your rate. So doing it early as possible, gives you those options, that flexibility, but it means at least that you've got something secured well in advance. So that is the big thing that you need to do if you're due to remortgage in the next couple of years. Now, we've had a few people lately getting rid of their current mortgage and just going with a new one now because they don't know what's going to happen in 2 years' time. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. We don't know. It's very, very individual because there's a penalty to pay. If you come out of your fixed rate early, then there's going to be a penalty to pay for the privilege of doing that, and that may be worth it to you. It may not. It depends how much it is and what the new rate's going to be. But that is also an option. You know, if you took a 90% mortgage 6 months ago or a year ago, whatever, the chances are your house is going to be worth less in 18 months' time than you bought it for. So should you just remortgage now and take a 5 years so that you can ride out this wave, whatever it is going to be, whatever we call it, should you do that so that then you're fixed for that period of time and you don't need to worry if your house dips in value in that time because you're fixed, it doesn't matter. That's very individual, that's entirely up to you. Would I'd consider it, yeah, I think, but it's not for everyone. Now, if you are one of those people that has got a high loan to value, so that's the amount of loan, the amount of mortgage compared to your property's value, if that is high, if that is sort of 90, 95%, if you put in 5 or 10% deposit, that means you've got a smaller amount of equity now. So it's all about loan to value for the mortgage lender. So if your loan to value is high, your equity is low, then you are probably most susceptible to ever being in any sort of negative equity. I mean, it's probably a bit early to be talking negative equity right now, but if you put in 5% deposit at the very height of the market, 18 months time, you may be around the same sort of value as what you owe, maybe even slightly less. But unless you plan to move, and we'll talk about that in a minute, unless you've got anything like that, your current lender will always offer you new fixed rates. May not be market leading, but you will always get a new fixed rate. You will not have to go onto the lender's standard variable rate because that is normally higher than their fixed rate. So they will always offer you a new rate. You don't have to swap lenders, you can just stay with the same one. There will always be an option for you. So please don't ever worry that you're going to be stuck on that same rate. You may not have masses of choice of other lenders, but you will certainly have a choice to stay with that same lender and just ride out the storm. Now, if you are in that same position where you've got a high loan to value, low equity, low deposit, and you have to move, if you have to move, you are the ones that are going to be sort of most affected if property prices dip. If you would like to move, well then that's a different story, that's up to you. If it's doable, then fine, do it. But if you have to move, there are some people that have to move for various different reasons, you're going to be the most affected. But bear in mind, remember that your property may have dipped in value, but so will the one you want to buy. So it's not always bad news. As long as we can cobble together at least 5% deposit with some money for fees and costs and things, then a move is going to be possible. You may not like the monthly payments, which is 5% deposit, but it is going to be possible. So if you have to move areas or relocate or whatever the reason, then there are probably still options. If you're in negative equity, then well, that's going to be tricky. If you have to move for whatever reason, you may need to consider selling, renting for a while. That's we're probably a little bit early to be talking about that kind of situation. But there are potentially options. So as long as we can keep 5% deposit, then it's going to be okay. So that gives you then a fairly kind of broad brush approach on the different options, the different things we need to be aware of if property prices go down. So if you don't need to do anything and you're fixed in, don't worry. If your mortgage is due in the next couple of years, start thinking about it as early as possible. Even start thinking about it now, and then you can decide whether you want to do something about it now or whether you want to leave it and just see what happens. So if you want to do any of those things right now with a really, really good mortgage broker, someone like us, you can do that by visiting our website. I'll pop a link in the description below. Book a call with us on there anytime you like. Hopefully we'll speak to you very soon. If not, I'll see you on the next video. Take care.